So is all Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu the same? No, because there's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And we have to make a little distinction. The Gracie family has a particular style, and it's basically very self-defense, real fight orientated. That's what self-defense means. Self-defense means real fight orientated. Okay. The problem with modern Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now, and what is becoming its downfall for the modern public, for most people, is the fact that you're being taught sport Jiu-Jitsu. And chances are you sent your 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old, your 15-year-old, or your 25, and you want to learn how to defend yourself, your family, and getting in shape and being more athletic is always a good thing for everybody. The problem is originally when Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu first came to this country, the Jiu-Jitsu family all fought each other. We're talking fighting for real. Punches, kicks, going for the takedown, and getting on top, smashing your opponent, and then getting that rear naked choke. That's the end of a great fight. The problem becomes is when the Jiu-Jitsu people stop fighting each other. Gracie Humaida versus Gracie Baja versus Carlson Gracie versus Team Alliance versus the non-Jiu-Jitsu fighters that were fighting in Brazil. Ultimately, because they were all actually fighting, really fighting, the first thing in the traditional Gracie curriculum was self-defense techniques. And self-defense techniques isn't just some cheesy move where a guy does a fake attack. You know, you put boxing gloves on, one guy on top is trying to punch you while you get the clinch and the takedown. You have to get to past the punches, and you have to take the man down. Otherwise, how are you going to do your jiu-jitsu? And that's kind of gone away a little bit. I trained for a while at a Gracie Baja gym, and they almost never did self-defense. We never, ever, ever did any kind of striking in the grappling. Now, I did it outside of that gym because I had to, because I knew what was important. But I wasn't necessarily getting coaching. It was trial by error. Let's see how this goes. I was, to a certain degree, watching, teaching myself. You get punched in the face. Holy cow, maybe that wasn't such a good move. It's a great way to learn. Unfortunately, people don't do that anymore. And if you never train to get past the punches and get the body lock takedown, you're at a sports school. If you never have anybody put boxing gloves on or open hand slap, just to touch the face, not even to hit hard, but if I can touch your face, I could have punched your face, is the theory. So you have to be able to defend against that stuff. If you never do that in that gym, in your gym, you are not training at a self-defense jiu-jitsu school that's going to teach you how to fight in a real fight. You are at a sport grappling school. If you really want to know if I think you're a chicken shit, it's because you also start grappling on your knees, which means you even chickened out of the takedown. So you're not practicing your takedowns. You're fighting from your knees to begin with, which never happens in a real fight. Man, give the guy guard. Give him mount. Find out what you can or can't do. I remember when I was training the first time I wrestled with the great Manny Vasquez out in Illinois. Man, I miss you, brother. I said, start mounted. He was like, what? I said, yeah, well, I don't care if I can submit you, but I really care that I can escape your mount. I was kind of surprised by the answer. But man, if I can't get the tap, that's okay. I'll get back to my feet and strike, because that's what I do. But I certainly have to be able to escape the mount, otherwise it's over. Doesn't matter how the grappling played out. The point is did you do the same thing? Let them start in the mount. They want to fight for top from their knees. Man, just say, okay, mine. So you want to start open guard or close guard? Close guard is real fighting. Open guard, doing a bit sport grappling again now. Unless they start standing up, they're trying to kick, big overhand, and you have to tie them up, get the takedown. One of the two. You tie them up and get the takedown because you stand up, or you pull them into your guard, but you have to do it tactically with a strategy. If you don't do any of these things, you're at a sport grappling school. And you will be the blue belt, purple belt, if you get that far, that gets his butt kicked out there. Because you never ever had to close the gap, get the body lock, take down, get on top, hurt them, deliver some punishment. Hopefully they roll, because they try to escape the punches and you slip in the rear naked. But if you don't ever train with strikes, don't ever expect to be able to succeed against them. So, do you do Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, which is self-defense, which means real fighting? Or do you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, sport Jiu-Jitsu? So, no disrespect to Gracie Barra, because they have some badass black belts and some great guys that I would love a private lesson from, but that's a sport chain. I mean, Carlos Gracie Jr. is the head and the founder of the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Now, why is that a problem? Because the original old school black belt said, oh my God, all this sport competing is no good. It's going to kill the efficiency of the art. It'll be just like judo, karate, and taekwondo. And they were right. Because ultimately, man, rules destroy the art. Suddenly, if I have to compete against you in a tournament, well, there's going to be no punching in this tournament. So I guess I won't train that stuff right now. I'm not training real fighting. And maybe there's no heel hooks, or maybe there's no ankle locks or no knee bars, maybe no bicep slicer, all the effective moves. But we're not going to train the things that are going to be illegal, just like judo. And judo today versus judo 30 years ago versus judo 80 years ago, radically different. Radically different. Because the rules destroyed the art. They don't fight anymore. They just compete in judo tournaments. Just like karate guys, for a long time, only competed in karate tournaments. Now we have mixed martial arts. So, do you train at a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school? Why do I think Rickson Gracie's awesome? Just because he was probably the greatest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner ever? Nah, it doesn't matter. That's what he can do. I can't do what Rickson Gracie can do. But I can tell you one thing, Rickson Gracie insists on self-defense in all of his schools. All of his black belts learn self-defense, and they can all teach it. So if you're going to be training at a jiu-jitsu school, know that all jiu-jitsu is not the same anymore.